Hello, it's me again, Wolfram. Okay, so I need to talk about things, good and bad things. Uh, so basically, you have noticed that I have been like away for 1 month. It's not like I have going on a vacation or something. Luckily, nothing bad has happened to me. If any, it's all good stuff because I have a lot of work and things are going smooth, but then I have less time, okay? So the trigram with having a life, having money, and having time, yeah, basically this adult stuff. So basically, I have a lot of work. I having a lot of work. Every time I try to calculate something on how to manage the schedule, everything went wrong. Then I had like issues with having the things prepared. Well, a lot of things, a lot of troubles. The short version is like I'm struggling a bit with time, so I cannot produce as fast as always. However, like I have been thinking about ways of fixing that, and well, this was meant to be an apology. So let's just start with that. I want to apologize, but like it's not something I should like technically be apologizing, but like at the same time I want to apologize because like it's not good to disappear. And I didn't meant to disappear as well. So yeah, basically I want to apologize because I have been away without actually saying anything, but it was also because like I was trying to make the thing work and I just couldn't. If you know what I mean. I was like, yeah, I will have the video this time, I can upload, and then I couldn't, and then it was 1 week and 1 week. Like, I had like one video recorded, and when that video was recorded, I was like, okay, but I have to record the video with playstyle first, and then it got complicated. So basically, this video brings like the explanations for the BT07 list. It will be the second part of the video, and I will also include the new version for BT8, BT9 and such. Okay, so if you want to know how to play Zorga today, you can watch the first part, and if you're interested in a different way of playing it that it's very good on grindier metas, you will have that second part as well. Okay, so you can watch both. And what I was going to say is that like, because I cannot really invest as much time into preparing everything, like because there is time for testing, time for recording, time for editing, time for recording my voice over the edition, so it's a lot of time. So I was thinking, what if I just go stream? Like I could save a lot of time at the end. Like it's maybe even a better way of doing this because I can interact with people while I do so, and like it surely will be awkward at first initially, but I don't know, I want to play with you guys and like maybe talk about Zorga and theorycraft, or just play games for fun like CFA or remote games, right? So I was thinking I will try. Okay, so my impulsive mind it's telling me you can do this tomorrow or this week, and I will try to do it this week, but at the same time I'm like, maybe it's more complex than I expect, so I will take more time. So basically my idea is like I will try to stream now, like, and I will use the channel to upload theory videos like this one with explanations that take less time for me. And because I will be playing on streaming, I don't have to invest extra hours. I will just test with you, like directly, changing cards on CFA or moving markers for my decks and talking. And I want to do that. Okay, so like probably we'll be doing that on Mondays because I have time on Mondays. And you know, I think it will be fun. So if you wanna join on my streams, I will appreciate it a lot. And I want to share Zorga with you more times, more times. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do from now on. That's what I wanted to say. Also, like, I'm really bad at edition. Like, I think I need help with that part as well. So I don't know. Like, I like, is there anyone else there? Are you hearing that? And I don't know, like, do you want to make edition job and like get paid for it? Like, we can talk about it. If you want, you can just DM me on Discord if you're interested. This is actually my first time I made a technical application for a job. Like, if you wanna take part on the channel and you want to get paid for that, like edition and making cool thumbs and that's thing, like, I don't know, hit me up on Discord and we arrange something. That being said, please enjoy the video, okay? Have fun. Okay, so here we are with the deck list for the BT8, Fast Call, BT9 Zorga. Okay, so you will now see that list first. This is the immediate deck list to be playing, let's say. This takes into account Kyrie. I have tried versus some of the new decks, the Rush decks, Civil, Talfred as well, some of the BT9 decks, and also Youthberg. And I have also tried versus some of the decks that we have now, like Blackmire. Basically, I have played versus a lot of things now, and when I played the old version, the previous one, the one you will see now with more Zorgas, more green, I had a problem where I could not reach my mid game under proper circumstances, like I was being rushed, or by the time I could stabilize, I was already too behind, etc. So I realized I had to, after playing with Romain last week, I realized this, like, because he was playing Kyrie, very strong deck from the new format, and like I was like, okay, I cannot keep up with this way of doing, so I have to find something that's more aggressive. Okay, I have seen some Japanese lists that run Actia Sticky to draw more early, but the card had some issues I didn't like. Like it wasn't not as great going first. Like it had problems. Okay, so instead of that, what I have found to be most useful, like I don't know, I haven't like played 3,000 games with that, just 1 week and a half, but I have been like seeing the deck can work. Okay, so let's show you how I think it's best to focus this format, and I will try to explain why. Okay, so first of all, we have our right line, but we are not going to play fishing anymore. We are going to be a bit faster. We will play Rancor Chain and Husk again. This is because we will be playing Coutier now. It's similar to one of the versions I showed like on the early stages of the game before Shoshodoji came. Like that deck was strong at that moment, but when Shoshodoji came and the fact that we didn't have as much soul made the deck a bit weak. But now we have the soul fronts from the previous set, and Shoshodoji it's a bit worse now. I have played versus Shoshodoji, and because they don't have Isaso available, I have been able to defeat them. 1 second. Yes, it's correct. So I have been able to defeat it now, so I think this version works, because one of the decks that could annoy you does not exist anymore, or it's not played as much. And we want to use Rancor Chain to find our Coutiers into our hand, because fishing, it's good at fishing cards from the deck, unironically, but like it doesn't put the Coutier into your hand. And what you want to be doing, it's like the Coutier combo with Overcoming, turn 2 with Blitz Order, but we will get into that, and we will compare how that synergy is inherently better than the new Red 2 Cyclers everyone is running. The new decks like are very aggressive, can push very fast, and kinda want to capitalize on the new Cyclers because they can put pressure while holding hand. So we want to emulate that on our own way. Shadow Cloak works kinda of the same way, but better. Because while, okay, we need like to find our orders, so we cannot run the Cycler, but at the same time, Shadow Cloak not only helps with finding orders to play Zorga, it also uses the Soul Blast in a more efficient way. You can get a 15k shield, which is more than 10k, you can get a Zorga, you can get a PG, so you can get a better card quality, okay? So you can rush with it as well, you can farm hand out of it, even if it's 1 turn late, but also like the quality you are getting out of the card, it's better. So yeah, we will see the deck, and then we talk about synergies and how we convert or compare the advantage. But basically you want to have cards in your hand fast, you want to draw the Coutier instead of just looking at top 7 and milling 1 unit, because having the Coutier in hand is more important now, okay? So we will now see fast the redundancy, the Zorgas. We will play 4 RPD and 1 Karma. There is a space for 1 Karma. I have the FFR Karma, but I don't know where it is. I will find it eventually. Like, I like saying, like, things do not get permanently lost. Usually they just disappear from some days and they come back into your life. Okay, but basically there's a space for 1 card, and like, while it's not like super spicy, Sometimes you just happen to draw it or you have it and you can activate the EV4. I'm not running EV cyclers here, and I don't need to draw with bt07 anymore, so you can just use the energy on that. If you see it, cool, you high roll. If you don't, that's fine as well. You still need 4 RPDs though, because of the Kutir Philander combo, so you have to run 4 RPDs, and then you have 1 slot for like an extra order, but I prefer this, okay? Then we have our Solva's 1 cycler. Like, I think with Zorga you have to like open your mind and like, okay, you see how the format keeps developing. Like now people place fast cards with a strong capitalization of resources soon. Okay, you try to adjust your tempo to play something that fits into that category, okay? I think the Zorga Nadir from 1 year ago, it's good now, so it's time to travel back in time. Then we have the 4 PGs, and then let's get into business. We have our 4 Philanders. Not only that card helps you when you don't have the persona right, it also helps you finding their RPDs fast. It puts the extra orders you need to play into drop zone, massive numbers. With this deck, like I think you realistically kill turn 4 if you go first, and you can even manage to win turn 3 going second. For the games where you went second, like versus Kyrie, let's say, I know Kyrie, it's like, it doesn't appear on tops, but I don't know, it's like, I have seen Romain playing it, and I cannot hesitate to think the deck is a hidden diamond, so yeah, I will just respect my opponents. So yeah, I also like, I have played that versus Levidras and versus, I need to play Babsagra, but I don't see her surviving, to be honest, like, unless they kinda high roll the PGs or something. Well, anyway, this card is really good. If you don't have Persona, you still swing for 68, pretty easy. It helps you killing your opponent. You want to rush, you want to go fast, see your cards fast, so that card helps you with that. And then you have the 4 Kutirs. What you want to be doing is use Overcoming turn 2 with that. It's like playing 5 copies of the card because you have the tutor for it. Then you have the draw 2, and like you can still mill it on your first turn with Philander. If you don't have any of the other cards, you can still put it into your drop zone. So if the card was in your top 7 and you would have seen it with Fishing, you will still see it with Rancor Chain because you have the Philanders, okay? So the idea is, now we move into the core orders. Like, this is redundancy. You always have to run those cards. Then they have the 8 slots that define why the deck is going to be played as an aggro. And then let's cover what orders are core for the deck to function. Basically, you almost always use that turn 2 and you put an order. Normally you put the green order into your hand. It's very easy because you have 8 tutors, you have that as well. So basically you will use that and try to put those 2 cards into your hand. Okay? Every turn you use Blitz Order, it's like a free ticket. Okay? So plus 1 ticket, but you draw 1. So it's like an upgraded version of what your opponents are doing. Right? They want to use the cyclers, this is your cycler. Okay? Overcoming is a very strong order that goes 1 more plus than the other orders. Other orders are like 1 for 1, but this is 1 for 2 cards. And this protects an attack, and then you draw another, so this is very good. And so what you want to be doing, it's like, this is turn 2, this with that turn 3, then you bind another order. So this maximizes the power, because you have to, it will be 15k power plus 10 is plus 25. Dragon is 15, so it's at least 40, and it can be 48, which is a lot. They cannot guard that, and they have to overuse the PGs. They don't have enough PGs, you will kill them, okay? And then somehow you have to prepare Miasma, okay? By your turn 3, you will probably have used a PG, so you go like this for scaling the orders, like you will have a lot of orders bound, and then you use Miasma because you have the PG and you want to grab it back after using it, okay? With this deck, now you only have like, usually you should account for 1 shadow bounce. That usually happens turn 4. Very rarely you can also add a Zorga to your hand, but it's very rare because you really don't even need the persona that much. And then you get with the PG you add to your hand, and with this you are bypassing the extra battles your opponents are doing compared to you. And like you go for attacks that deal more damage than what your opponent is doing, because they have like 5 attacks, but they deal 1 damage each. You can deal like 2 damage, 1 damage, 2 is 5. You can deal 7 damage a turn, only guardable with PGs. So if you rise them fast, they don't have enough PGs, or they have to waste them faster, and they cannot guard. It's like, this is like the opposite to Blackmire. Blackmire says they cannot use PGs. Zorga says they can only use PGs. Okay? And then you basically will use this twice, and with this you will get 1 PG just in case they survive, or if you go second because you have to use it faster or something like that, and then they ride immediately after. This is all the orders I usually have time to play on the turn, and if I go second, I do also get to play that. If you had the Philander Coutier 1 RPD with crit combo, it's very strong, and like, let's be honest here, okay? This format, even if, it doesn't matter what you play. If you go second, you are already slightly doomed, okay? The thing is that with this combination of cards, you have a chance going second. This is why I like it, and this is why I think also Rancor Chain and Husk is superior, because it enables drawing the Coutier turn 1 as fast as possible. I didn't like this configuration a year ago because there was Eva, there was some decks, also like some Zorgas could still play the other bulk versions. And like if you're playing versus Night Rose, or if you're playing versus Zorga, or even if you play versus Eva, I found out that Eva can also do a great job at defending from that. This is not as good, because they will defend and you won't be as bulky as maybe you should. Having the Soul Fronts helps with that, because now you can be bulky as well, because you can actually spam that and you can actually get the PGs back. So I think this card makes this deck better, and since the context pushes for it, I think we should play that now. Okay, so this is basically the core. This is the core of the game. Like, I think you have to play that now, okay? I wouldn't change anything from there. Then we have like those slots of orders. Well, sorry, we have, my bad, we have a second copy of that, but then you have 5 orders and you can play wherever here. This is good, I think. You think you want to run that, because if you go first, sometimes you cannot play this comfortably, but you can still find that and maybe set up a board for your turn 2 to be meaningful. I like that. I would consider that as core as well, and then we will see the situational orders. I play ladder because like it's a soul charge one that can help. It's 5k power to your Vanguard, that it's partially useful. And like some decks like Artisaria can lock you, Blackmire can bind you. It's nice having the tool. This is also why I'm running a Toxins card. And then you have 2 of those. I almost never play any of those 4 cards, okay? But like, I think those are the most useful. Sometimes you might have that and you can sacrifice your cards to rebuild the board turn 3, that's fine. You can also maybe access a soul for later if you don't have the fronts, but it's not really needed. You can play something else here and it won't matter. But being honest, nothing you can add here will matter, because you will only play those cards most of the time, because you can find them every turn. And I like 1 elixir because sometimes you don't have the RPDs, and like this is plus 15k, 20k, it's like a pseudo karma. And you can go like elixir here and karma the other side with the bind skill, and this is still a lot of power. And that's basically what we have here. The triggers, it's 4 of that. That's more than enough. And the usual, fuck, I'm missing 1 crit here, but it should be 8, okay? It's 8 criticals and the 4 heals as usual, okay? So that's about it. Again, I want to apologize because I have been like on this phantasmagorical hiatus, but I really felt like I could not keep up at that moment, and I did it like, it's not that even I wanted to take a break. I was constantly stressed by the pressure of having to make more content. Like, I never was like, okay, let's take a vacation. I never felt like on a vacation. I just felt like I could not test, I didn't have the time. When I played the deck, felt like, I don't know, I attempted to record sometimes, but I wasn't feeling comfortable because I felt like the version at that moment was half-cooked, I wasn't sure about it. So, I don't know, basically it was complicated for me to keep up, okay? And I felt like the task was getting Titanic and I could not finish, and like I had the video, but I could not upload it because I didn't have the game yet. Well, I got stressed, and like it's not that I didn't want to, I just couldn't perform, okay? I just couldn't solve the mass of things. But like someone told, I don't know where I saw this, but like, don't let perfection preventing you from starting. If the task is getting enormous, just no problem. You will figure it out, okay? Chill. Okay, that being said, I want to try this streaming thing, and I will try to start tomorrow or this Wednesday. If I don't manage to upload this Saturday or Sunday. Like the last day of the week, I don't know, I will be very annoyed. Okay, it's fine. So I hope you enjoyed. If you stay for the rest of the video, you will see the logics on the previous version, the one that works a lot versus Babs, the one that completely obliterates Levidras. This also obliterates Levidras. I don't know what happened to that deck. I think I know what happened to that deck. Like, Chozodoji existed, and like, Levidras was the only good deck versus Chozodoji. Maybe Shiranui. I don't know, it's fine. Well, hope you enjoyed, hope you stayed for the rest of the video. If you don't, that's also fine. And see you in 1 second! Hello, it's me, it's Wolfram, and today, and because you have asked for that quite a lot, we are going to do like a Zorga class or Zorga lesson about, well, we call them combos, but I don't think they are combos, they are more like synergies or like sequencing on how to play certain cards during the game, right? Wolf, you should use that order here or there, or you should like, what orders you should be trying to use turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, or like, do you play the order here or there, in which order, right? So we are going to explain like in a comprehensive way, because I think it's better than just giving you a list or instructions. Like, let's try to understand why we should play in a certain way or the other. Okay, we will see this for the orders, for the different orders we have, and then we will like try to discuss things we should care about when we are playing, like the resources or certain tiny things with some cards that you have to care about if you don't want to run out of soul or something like that, okay? So, first of all, like one very important thing with this deck, it's like when you try, when you play the game, you do so with like knowledge and some ideas behind your plays, okay? So like the moment they open the Vanguard and it's like, it's Babs, it's Glory Maelstrom, it's Batman, whatever it is, you know already how you want to play the game, the whole game, and you should be like aiming for your game plan already. Every tutor should have a meaning behind it, and you should prepare your cards well. If you prepare your cards well, you will do good in general. If you like try to use orders where they shouldn't be played, you will start struggling. For example, if you're playing a game where you are trying to enter 4 and like you don't have a way to grind out of it, like if you're playing versus Batman or versus Glory Maelstrom, every time or every order slot you employed into farming or grinding on a situation where you could not win by doing so, you are putting cards in your opponent's hand because you're pressuring less, let's say. So this means that doing or making use of the wrong orders on the wrong moments will make you lose more than maybe you should. Okay, so let's work around that so we can fix it. Okay, I think it's important to understand that during the course of the game, different orders have different objectives. Of course, and this might seem very obvious, but the cards that draw cards are like very good when you want to farm, and those cards are more used when you're trying to find their combo fast. Like if you are going into a Glory Maelstrom and you want a fast game, you won't spend as much time. This is special because you always do that turn 3, but you won't spend as much time farming resources compared to try to find the pieces fast, because you want to end fast and maybe drawing will not be saving you, okay? However, during different stages of the game, the value of the same orders will also vary. For example, if you're on late game and you use Habitat with Freeze, this means like, because you are calling the targets you are going to bounce, you can call 2 boosters out of it, so they will gain power, okay? And if you use those cards, then you will be trying to use the Nadir for farming, okay? So that's the general idea. You should be trying to use those orders more when you are trying to kill fast, and you will try to green, farm like cheese heals, cheese triggers, or draw more when you are playing a value matchup, okay? If you're playing versus Levidras, versus Babsagra, mirror match,
you will try not to use that as much, and you will try to, for example, have combinations of those two cards to draw more cards and set your bounces with the Zorga Nadir instead. Okay? So let's say we are playing an aggro game. If we know we are playing versus an aggro game, we know like we have to find the kill severing, the cow, and the shadow cloak fast, because shadow cloak we also farm or set your Zorga. If you're playing versus Glory, versus Batman, versus a mask deck maybe, versus stride decks, this is also very good because you can deny their stride and like keep them on grade 2, make them slow. You will try to use Habitat, or especially Habitat, if you are missing the units. And you will try not to use this unless you're also like finding dragons. If you're finding shadow cloaks, you will use the Habitat. If you are specifically finding missing the mask and the RPDs, you will try to use the freeze. Turn 2, we are turn 2 now, okay? And like sometimes you will see like, okay, I have those, should I play them? That's the thing, you shouldn't, because you cannot afford like the CB for that if you are trying to use the kill next turn. That's what I want to try to explain, right? You have an objective in your mind, so you should use the proper orders to accomplish that objective. The opposite, it's true. Turn 2, those cards are my preferred ones, this format, because you can accelerate your deck, find a lot of, find your cards fast, and hit crits, but like you don't want to commit cards, because Habitat, like, it's a 1-for-1, okay, sure, but like sometimes it finds the kill severing or a cow, you're still losing a card in hand, even if you're attacking more, okay? But with that, with those cards, you get to keep the card advantage, okay? With this, because you're just paying the CB instead of discarding, and with that, because like you have cow, you have Zorga Mask, it's very easy to just recover from that minus, okay? If you're playing versus Levidras, versus Babsagra, versus matchups that you need to survive more, use those, and not use those as much turn 2. But the opposite is true if you need to go for the combo next turn, because you need 2 CBs, etc, etc, etc. Another thing that is very important to know, it's like if you have your Shadow Cloaks, if you have your Iweleth, if you're going to call the 2 cards, like the important thing turn 2 is to commit the attackers. But if you already have them, like you have an Iweleth and a Shadow Cloak, maybe you can just keep the order in your hand, okay? And you don't have to use it. Maybe next turn you don't have an order because of it, or whatever. And another thing, it's very important to know when, like, if you have the Shadow Cloak and you want to call it early, okay, so the most powerful thing we can do turn 3, it's like, Nadir, you have the 2 Shadow Cloaks. Where is my second Shadow Cloak? If we have the 2 Shadow Cloaks, okay, the most powerful thing we can do turn 3 right now, it's like something into Caliburn, or like Caliburn into Sweets, Sweets gets bound, then next turn you bound Caliburn, that's very strong to do turn 3, or Gather Upon Me into Sweets, and like, I don't know, Gather Upon Me into this, or like combinations with those 4 cards are very strong turn 4. Why? Because Nadir can call 2 cards from the drop zone. If Fishing has milled a PG or a Zorga Mask you were missing, you can call those cards and bounce them with the 2 Shadow Cloaks, okay? This is why Habitat is good. If you don't have the Shadow Cloak, that's the only reason, like, if I'm trying to play a green game, I will always use those turn 2, but if I'm missing Shadow Cloak, I will always Habitat over those 2 cards, because having the Shadow Cloak gives more value immediately, okay? And ideally, the power play, it's like binding this, you always want to bind that turn 3, okay? And so you use something into that, one of those 3 into that, that's the best thing you can be doing, okay? And if you can do that, it's like discard 1 card to strictly +2, and scry 1, which is like gaining a triple drive, or like some kind of increased drive check chance, okay? And you want to use the Nadir, the EV2, to call the 2 cards you will be bouncing. If you do that, it's like EV2, Soul Blast 2, but the two Soul Blasts are actually fake, because you will be Persona riding on the mask every turn, so you have 2 Soul for free every turn, and you don't waste that many Soul, okay? So basically it's like EV2, Soul Blast 2, to get 2 cards into your hand and draw 3 cards. That's very strong, okay? Turn 3, you want to set up. And why? And you are like, Wolf, you are turn 2, why are you explaining all of this? Okay, you will be calling the Shadow Cloaks turn 2. And the thing is, like, there is two ways of using the Nadir to hold your +2. That's why I'm trying to explain here, and it was a bit more complicated than I wish it was, but here we are. Okay, because Zorga Nadir will generate the 2 cards, okay? You can use your attackers, call them, intercept with them, and those are the 2 free cards already, because you are like saving shield, you are controlling your damage more. So that's a way to use the EV2 proactively, because you are saving shield, okay? However, if you are going to intercept with those, then Nadir will be calling something, but you won't have the Shadow Cloaks, okay? So, you want to rush turn 2, but you want to do so in a way you can try to capitalize on that +2. Like, we have to acknowledge that Nadir it's +3 turn 3, because it has Alchemy Magic, that it's a +1 or +2 if you use Caliburn, and then it's EV2 to plus another 2 cards, okay? You have to capitalize on that, like either by intercepting, because maybe you want to call that, you have another Shadow Cloak, you don't care, or maybe you don't have something in drop you want to call, so you will capitalize on the 5k, that's okay. But you need to turn the EV2 into a +2 and the Alchemy Magic into at least a +1. Ideally +2 if you use Caliburn, okay? In the way you intercept, the calls you call, the cards you call are very important here, okay? So that's it, okay? Turn 3, you don't really need to commit into the Zorga Mask. If you're going first, you don't need to commit into it, because this play is strong enough. You can play it slow, like, I don't know, I have been playing Babsaura, you can just attack with her, and she has crit and triple drive. That's usually enough pressure. Like, if you call the 2 RPDs, like, it doesn't even matter if they are 15s, because, like, they will do card, and you still have the triple drive, and you have, like, +5 cards into your hand, and there you are, like, you have 11, even 12 cards in your hand turn 3 most of the time, okay? So, depending again on the matchup you're facing, if you're playing an aggro matchup, you come from using this, you can still use that, and this can also be aggressive somehow, but like usually when you're trying to go aggro, you want to Zorga Mask immediately and do the 4 attacks fast, so like consistently wise, you will see that you are forced to use that because you don't have the pieces, okay? So just forget about that a bit more. I always try to use that though, because that's very good, and you often do not have the CD for that. And the other cards, like, they are not making you progress on the game plan you are trying to achieve. Okay, so summary, you want to play aggressive, you want to attack as much as possible, you want to attack 3 times, turn 2. However, you don't want to waste cards, you don't want to pay CV to not lose. Also, there's that, like, if you have like this, but you don't have the RPDs, you're paying CV1 to filter a card, that's not good. You would only do that if you are like missing pieces and you need like to unrig yourself heavily and you don't have the other cards, okay? But knowing when not to play the order, if you can call the 2 cards, that's fine, that's good. Another decision you can make is just call 1 booster, like if it is 10, 10, 10, like sometimes you don't want to risk the defensive to exposing your board. Like, you don't want to expose the board to your defensive. And then you want to do all of that thinking into plussing 5 fucking cards out of this guy, okay? Okay, that's like the base thing, right? Once we understood that, we have we have the capability to set our game properly. We understand that this is so important, like, unless it is versus an aggro matchup, we will try to set that every time and do that, always bind this. Like the turn 3 you have to bind that, because it's not a card you can use every turn, because the kill will keep adding that on cost and you don't have everything, but you want to plus, okay? In general, the game, it's like every banger has triple drive now, and drawing cards, it's very powerful. So you want to try to use this turn 3, and then you will try to recover from that every time to keep gaining triple drive. Those cards are tricky, okay, because you need to superior right first, or you will draw the card or lose the drive check. So be careful with that. Turn 3, if you're going second, you can like bind an order, but this is like a high roll thing. If you have a lot of orders, you can do that. Bind an order, superior, and then Alchemy Magic normally, and you will accelerate your bind zone. Will have more cards, so that's also a thing to consider. But like, you need foresight, right? If you cannot see you will be able to play 2 turns ahead, I would even consider doing it, because you don't want to risk not drawing the next card just to give 5k. It's not useful. Okay, so this is like the baseline. reading the matchup and playing the cards accordingly. And to keep going, we need to explain how Nadir actually works. We understand this for turn 3 because we are going to write Zorga Mask, and it's very obvious that we don't need to scale on that power, right? We can use this for the +2. When it's turn 4 and onwards, Nadir has like 3 ways of being used. It can call the 2 boosters, it can call 1 booster and 1 bounce target or Shadow Cloak, or it can call the 2 bounce targets, okay? You can like choose the type of defense you want. Maybe you want this because it's a multi-attack deck, or it's like Babsaura when you want to just farm 2 PGs every turn. This guy, every copy of this guy, it's 2 cards of your choice from your drop zone. Every fucking turn, EV2. EV2, choose 2 cards from your drop zone, put them into your hand. Literally, EV2, because Mask, it's free Soul Charge 2. Okay? And then you will be able to bind the Nadir, so you didn't waste the copy, blah, blah, blah. Okay? So, yeah. You have to choose, like, if you want the boosters to be more meaningful, like if you want to create Philanders, this is why Philander is not as needed anymore, because you can have access to the power for the turns that matter on demand. Like, you're no longer forced. Philander forced you into overcommitting cards all the time, but here you can choose if you want to have the power or if you want to have more defense, okay? The earlier you are in the game, the more you want to use this for plussing, and the more you go into the late game because the PGs have been running out, etc, 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 the more eager you are to generate attackers, okay? However, all of this, and yeah, on your general game plan, like, you just keep putting this into your hand with either this, or like this guy's a skill, or if you have that, you can put the mask and you can discard it. Be careful with this, like, you can only use it once, and sometimes it's not advisable to do so. Still, I think it's worth, and it's better than the Grade 1 shooter, because I like more the mask consistency than the Grade 3 consistency, let's say. Okay, but like, you want to keep having triple drive. Triple drive, like, this card is legit free triple drive now, because you have the Zorgas that keep binding that to put more orders into your hand. And you have, like, it's like drawing 1 for free every turn in the form of a triple drive. Okay, so you want to spam that. That's very good now. So yeah, like, let's say the most strong thing we can do, it's like this with something that draws, or this with this, or like this with mask sometimes, because it's also putting a card into your hand. And then you will have a way to have your 2 shadows set, like, one usually sits behind Vanguard, and maybe you keep calling 1 from hand to from every turn, so you can swap it into a PG, or sometimes the Nadir, it's calling, like, sometimes you have, like, let's say you have Nadir here, Shadow Cloak here, and Nadir calls that, then your superior, right, this binds that, and you call a second copy, right? For example, and then you use Gather Upon Me with Sweets. Okay, be careful with that, because you would have already noticed that you don't have 2 cards to sacrifice if you do this. Right, so you want to find a way of combining your cards into, like, into farming the +2 free cards out of this guy every turn, and then the minus from rewriting gets covered with that. Okay, so yeah, but let's say, right, maybe you don't have 2 cards to call, and maybe you want to call this. Then this card, it may have like +15, because you have bound cards, okay? So yeah, the way this synergizes is because, like, if you are not using 2 draw cards, then you are using either this or that. Those 2 cards will call cards, right? So because you cannot capitalize on the 3rd bounce, let's say, you can, like, call this with an Nadir and call the PG, right? Then you write, bind, call the Shadow Cloak, and you have, like, this one, discard that with Gather Upon Me. This will call the other card, and you will have more power. So, like, ideally you want to drive and gain draw cards, but you can sacrifice some of your cards in order to generate enchanted boosters, okay? And the more long the game becomes, like, you are more prone, or like you would prefer more to, like, call 2 boosters, and you have a lot of massive power, okay? Then you have to make a choice on how you play the kill, of course, because, for example, versus Babs, you call the 2 boosters, and though, like, 63 to damage, 63 to damage, It's funny because that's how much Baylor boosts, right? They have 2 guard, then Zorga attacks, you have triple drive, or like those 2 cards combined are like 4 drive sometimes as well. And then like if you hit crits and kill becomes relevant, you can go face, but you can also like direct the 30k into the Yukma shot. And if you want to, like, they can choose to lose 2 cards or like let it die. So it's CV1 to kill 1 card if you want, okay? So with the kill severing. I don't have it here, but that's how it works. Okay, so basically that's how you should like play your orders. Try to draw more, like the draw order cards are very strong now. You want to use them as much as possible. Use those turn 3 every time you can, just do it. And combinations of those 3 cards are amazing for that turn. Turn 2, you have to choose like what kind of playstyle you are doing and in order to decide what orders you should be playing. Okay, and I don't know. I know this was a lot of information and like it's probably not as properly explained as I would like it to be. So if you have questions, just let them drop in the Discord or in the Twitter, you know. I don't know if there is something like interesting it's missing. I think it's like very clear. Yeah, then there is like some things like sometimes like let's say you are losing. Let's get more deep into that. Let's say you are losing. You can use those cards to come back. Like because this might not seem obvious, right? Because like you're playing Levidras, you do an Autogaste return, you always have the trigger chance. You're playing Babsara, you always have triple drive. You're playing Night Rose, you also always have triple drive. Here, that's a choice you are making, right? So other decks are forced into playing their usual line. They cannot move from that. There's no way, there's no reason to not Autogaste, there's no reason to not gain triple drive, etc. However, because we can choose how to plus, right? What if, like, let's get dramatic, like you have drawn 10 cards out of your deck, you have 30 more cards in your deck, and like, you don't have triggers left. Why do you want to gain triple drive? You don't want to gain triple drive, but then you can choose to generate advantage with like finding the key cards or like etc. But let's say you have a midly compressed deck, then this card is very good because like you are drawing and then you mill 1 card, right? Because the odds of like having 2 non-trigger cards in a row, it's bigger. Like, let's make it obvious. You have 1 trigger in 50 cards, right? That won't be the case. It will be like 10 in 30. Okay, so you can choose to like use that because you know it's very easy for you to see through the 2 cards, and then you drive 2 more. So it's like an Autogaste. Okay, but the difference is this is a choice. And let's say it's the opposite, like you have a 20 card deck and you have 16 triggers. Then that's broken, right? Because you can triple drive into a very compressed deck. Okay, so like sometimes you will see like early game in the game, like you are like, you will be able to read that. You will see that you have like different kinds of compression, like you have been sacked or you are being sacked or like you are missing things. You can choose the way you are generating your advantage, right? Sometimes you will be like, okay, I go with that because I'm really low and like I think I will be able to thin 2 out of that and then triple drive and like maybe you heal crit and you're back into the game. And like then it's worth maybe not drawing the 2 immediately. But for example, you have the PGs in your hand, then maybe you don't have anything to draw out of that and you just care about the triggers. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you need to find the PG and like maybe plusing less, it's worth the quality difference, right? So like let's just stop a second to count. You have like literally free board every turn. You don't have to call more than 2 cards during a game, maybe the 2 shadow cloaks or something like that. Then you have the front row that's always coming back, and you have 2 cards out of your Nadir, and then you have like 2 or 3 cards out of the Alchemagic, out of the cow skill, like because the Nadir can call the cow and the cow can put another into hand, like it's a lot of plussing, and you control every time the quality and the type of your plussing. Every time. So you need to read through the power spikes of the different cards and make decisions with foresight. Like, for example, one game, you know your opponent will be at 4 damage, next turn, it's turn 3, and you're like, I don't know, like turn 2, you have that into your hand, and you're like, if I use it here, I won't be able to use it in 2 turns, and I see like, because I'm rushing a bit, maybe I want to, this turn I just call the Shadow Cloaks, or just call my attackers, keep my order into my hand, next turn I do, I don't know, let's say you have those 3, okay? Whatever. So, no, those 3, no, because that's a bad example. Let's say you have those 3, okay? And turn 2 are like, okay, if I use that, because I will bind, I don't know, now I cannot invent a proper example. Okay, but you get me, right? Not using the cards one turn, because you know you will be able to have to use them forward, okay? Be wary of that. And just one last thing. You want to keep bouncing with those guys, One mistake you can be doing, turn 2 or 3, has to do with those 3 cards, okay? Don't stop a second and ask yourself, do I want to do this bounce here? Do I want to put an order in my hand here? Sometimes you will see, like, this mostly depends on how many Zorgas you have available, because if you have, like, I don't know, if I have 7 Zorgas, okay, you will, so chat! But if the cards are missing, like, you should ask yourself, do I need to bounce a Zorga next turn? If I activate this or that, do I have a soul for that next turn? Do I have a soul 2 turns in the future if I use this here? Okay, so that's the kind of question you should be asking before doing anything. Like, I remember this weekend, no, 2 weekends ago, like, I lost a game to Arnold, to Dolls, and it was because I wasted 1 soul turn 3, and like, turn 5 I needed that soul, and I was like, I realized turn 4 that, fuck, last turn I shouldn't have done that. Can we really blame the deck if we had an option and we didn't play with enough preparation or foresight? Well, just be careful with your soul last cost, because with this is very easy to get greedy, because you have a lot of soul, but you don't have as many soul, okay? Oh yes, and freeze is very important, like sometimes you will have to recover the Zorgas from your soul because you don't have enough copies. Just remember that, okay? That card's important, like if you have a hand with low amount of Zorgas, sometimes you want to prepare this early, so you can like rewrite turn 4, use freeze to get the Zorga mask from the soul, okay? And now I'm definitely wrong. It's nice that it took me another 10 minutes to finish. But that's basically it, that's how it is. If you have more questions, which you should probably have, because it's a lot of information, just let me know on the comments. So, have fun, stay safe, play a lot of Zorga, and see you soon!